welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are all doing well and you've liked the past videos. I've been getting more and more questions and comments on the videos, which I really do appreciate, and I love to answer them because I definitely know that a lot of you are in the market for this vehicle as the prices come down slowly and slowly, and you guys have questions. And I did mention, like, I bought this vehicle pretty much blind. I didn't have anyone tell me, oh, these are things you should look for, and just I didn't really have someone to answer questions for me, so that's kind of what I want to do. I can really tell you my experience and help you out, and just tell you about things that you should look for when buying a vehicle like this. And I think the first one is definitely knowing the history of the vehicle, and this is like your Carfax and just stuff like that. When you buy this car, I definitely recommend you get a Carfax done, or in like an auto check or something, or both if you can, to see if they line up. It's definitely important to know the history of your vehicle, so you can guess how it's been driven. You can see all the records and stuff like that, because it's important. It's an older car. You don't want a neglected vehicle. But yeah, I mean, I hope that makes sense. Like, you don't want a car that's been used and abused but hasn't had its oil changed in 5 years or something like that, just because no one ever drove the car. It's important to know all that stuff, and it'd be a shame if you bought a car and you find like milky oil or something when you go to change the oil or something like that. So I think that's the first biggest thing that you need to know, just the history of the vehicle. It is pretty important, and it can save you a lot of money in the future as well if you just do your due diligence. And this is important for both, like, if you do a dealer sale, like I did. I got my car from a dealership up in Cincinnati, and they provided me with every single piece of documentation that I asked for, which is great. But a lot of these cars sell on places like Facebook Marketplace and just private exchanges, so some owners are reluctant to buy a Carfax and actually give it to you, or they're just trying to hide something like an accident or something. But it's really important to know that stuff, because you are spending, let's say, 20, 30, even some cases $40,000 for a car like this, and it's important to know where your money's going. You don't want to buy a rebuilt title car for 30-something thousand dollars, which you could have got for 25 or 20. But it is important. I think the next thing is, before you buy a vehicle like this, and I do have notes because I can't memorize all that right now, but if you do buy a vehicle like this, it's important to do your due diligence in terms of not just getting the paperwork done, but also taking it to a dealership or a trusted mechanic and doing your PPI, your pre-purchase inspection. So many people buy cars like these and then end up taking it to get their oil change or something, and they find out that there's parts missing or something's wrong with the car, or just stuff like that, which is unfortunate, because then you have to end up replacing a part, or you end up having to just spend money that you didn't need to spend in the first place, which does suck. I didn't get a PPI, which is my fault entirely, but luckily I actually scored on this vehicle, and I was lucky enough to not need a PPI. But I should also mention, like I said earlier, the dealership gave me everything, which included their own PPI, but I feel like if I had to do it all over again, and there's nothing wrong with the vehicle for me to say that I should have done it differently, but I think in terms of just experience, I should have done it differently. I probably would have had a mechanic come out or someone that knows a lot about these cars and common issues and stuff like that, which I will make another video about, just common issues that you should look for when buying a vehicle like this. But these are just like the general things I want to talk about when you're buying a car. So these apply to not just Corvettes, but every car, especially enthusiast type of vehicles. But yeah, so like knowing what is going on with your car underneath, in the motor, exhaust wise, all of that stuff is important to know, because you don't want to buy a car that has completely different cats or a different X-pipe that shouldn't be there, or it has a misfire or something that you may have missed. And I mean, I feel like you kind of get the point there. It's important to look for those things, and it's better to just have it on paper. And there are also a ton of dealerships that go out of their way to do this stuff. If you've seen like Chevy Guy on YouTube, he does this stuff for his dealership, and he's just a great guy. I've actually met him once. I got to see him when he was doing his Toys for Tots a few years ago, and I actually got super lucky that he was there, and he actually ended up giving me one of his key tags for his YouTube channel. And he's such a great guy, stand-up guy, really. But yeah, that's one, and then two, and then the third thing is knowing if there's any mods done to your car. A lot of people that buy these cars, they swap the exhaust, they put in a cam, boost the cars, etc., etc. They do a lot to these cars, and then the next owner that buys it knows nothing about it. So I think the best way to go about it is, if you're buying like private sale, for example, you may want to ask the owner what's done to the vehicle, because it is pretty important to know what's done to your vehicle. Like, for example, if someone had a stage 2 cam on their car and you were going out of your way to buy the vehicle, I feel like you would want to know what type of cam you have, or what else is done. Are there any other supporting mods? Has that person done anything else to their vehicle? Have they changed out any of the supporting mods? Have they put a different exhaust on? These are all things you need to know, and it's important when you're buying the car. For example, if the car doesn't have cats and your state or your county requires you to do like emissions or something, you may be in a hard position to go and get some cats or something, because those are expensive, and you need to go ahead and buy those because you need them to get the car registered, which would suck because the original owner didn't tell you or didn't give you like a mod list. So that is, I think, number 3. I don't know what that car just did. They parked right there, they drove around, and then, okay, whatever. And then another thing is with Corvettes specifically, and I know Mustangs are getting up there because more and more people are buying Mustangs, and Camaros as well, Corvette tax. And it really is a pay-to-win type of game when it comes to things like modding these cars. Cams are expensive, boost is expensive, supporting mods are expensive, exhausts are expensive, X-pipes, headers, mufflers if you go into those, like Corsa Borla. If you want to get headers in terms of like Cook's American Racing, and their X-pipes, like some of these headers go for, I think average is about $2,000, and then the X-pipes are going for like $1,500 if you buy like the matching one. And I know there are shops that can make their own and then fabricate it to your headers, but if you're someone that wants to buy, let's say Cook's headers and then Cook's X-pipe just to keep it all one factory, I mean, I kind of get that, but that runs you about $3,000 to $4,000, which is crazy to me, considering you can find cheaper alternatives. They might be lower quality, but I mean, if you're saving $1,000, I feel like it's understandable to have lower quality. And then things like boosting your car, for example, a lot of people don't take into account, okay, you have to boost the car, but then you also have to get the tune, or if you're camming the car, you have to tune the car. That tune costs money. And then if you want the car to run right, you're probably going to want to, or if you want to make power, you probably want to put E85 or something, so you have to get the flex fuel, or if you're just going to run E85, you got to get tuned for that. Transmission tunes, all of this stuff adds up, and I feel like a lot of people don't understand that the cost also adds up. And I know people do this over time, but I feel like YouTube has a misconception, especially because of TikTok and stuff like that, where everyone just wants to do everything all at once. And that's completely the opposite for me. Like I said, I'm a student. I can't fork up so much money to just cam it, boost it, headers, X-pipe, everything. It's so many thousands of dollars. And I know a lot of people also agree with that, but they are making content for money. I don't do that. So yeah, Corvette tags, if you want to get new headlights like Morimoto's or things along those lines, or new tail lights, stuff like that, that costs, I think it's around like $1,500, $1,600 for the headlights, and then about $600-700 for the tail lights. So all of those add up. And then I recently got my windows tinted. You can see it here. I'll post another video during the daytime, where you can actually see it in the day. But this was hard to get done. Like, no one wanted to do it because this back window is so hard to tint. Which, I mean, I guess that just lies in the skill set. I guess some tint shops just don't have the skills to do it. But yeah, like, all of this, it adds up. It makes it harder to do. That's actually crazy. There's a Corvette parked right here. It's parking up next to me. Oh, that's crazy. But yeah, I don't know if you can see that in the mirror. I can't tell if the camera can pick that up. I think you might be able to. But so next on the list is I think 0.5 of number 4. So let's say 4.5 is parts availability. This car is old. It's a 2008. Parts are not available from Chevy. They don't make new parts. So everything you buy, you have to buy from the junkyard or parts resellers or wholesalers or whatever it may be. So if you have like a cracked dash, for example, you probably need to go buy a new dash. If you have a broken fender or broken headlight or something, you got to go secondhand and buy that stuff, unless you go out and buy a new one, like a brand new one. So you have to really think about these things when you're buying stuff like this, because you don't think about this when you're buying a new Mustang, because they're still making those. They're making the parts, and they made less of these than they did newer Mustangs, for example, because less people bought Corvettes until the C8. So you have to think about these things when you buy the car. It's important not only for your cost, but also your convenience. So yeah. And then I think the final thing that I want to add onto this is, let's say Mustang, Challengers, Chargers, they all fall into one category of car, in my opinion. But I think Corvettes are the outliers. Like things like Corvettes, Vipers, and stuff like that, in terms of the American cars, they're really the outliers. And it's cooler to have cars like this, in my opinion. It brings you into a different league of person. And that's not to put anyone down. Muscle cars are amazing, but I consider this a sports car and not like a Mustang or a Challenger where they're pony or muscle cars. But I feel like it brings a different type of prestige to the vehicle. Wait. I don't know if you guys picked up that cam. It sounds amazing on that Corvette. But yeah, so you fall into a different category of people. You meet different people. And I know these cars are more accessible to people like me, younger people that work for these vehicles, compared to people that maybe buy them when they're a little older. But like if you go to like a Cars and Coffee, or if you pull up to an event that may have like older people, I feel like you have different conversations, whereas if you had a Mustang or a Challenger or something like that. But like I said, I'm not putting down anyone. Every car is cool in my opinion. Like, if I see like a Toyota Previa, for example, I think I'll geek out. But like, I feel like you might understand my point. I hope you do. But like, it's just having Corvette. It's like the dream of other people, which is amazing, and I'm so grateful to actually like have the money to buy this car and enjoy it. And I encourage, if you can work hard and stick to a goal, buy one if it's your dream car, because I promise you it will make you so much happier in life. But if that makes sense, I don't know. There's no way of saying it without sounding like a dick. And I mean, I don't know. It's weird. I can't explain it. But that's really it. Those are the 5 things that I wanted to talk about. I don't know if those were 5. I think those are 5, pretty much. But these are things to consider before you buy a Corvette, and none of them are negative. It's just things you have to think about, especially if it's your first sports car, muscle car, whatever you want to call it, like this was mine. I have never owned a car like this. I've been raised on Toyotas, and my 4Runner is like my most recent car. I think the fastest car we've ever had in my family was like a 2-liter turbo Land Rover, which we didn't have for long, but I think that was like the fastest car we've ever had. But these are all things. And then I want to also add, for the young people out there that may be on one of like their first or second cars that want a car like this, just try to stick to what you can afford. Like, if you find a great deal, okay, but do the numbers with your insurance. Can you afford the gas on the car? Because I know you're not going to be driving it casual like you would a Corolla every single day. You're going to drive it the way it's meant to be driven most days. And can you afford that? Can you afford the maintenance on the car? It may not be a lot, but most shops will charge you a little more if you take it to a shop, unless you do it all on your own, which props to you. But if you can afford it, do it. But like, consider the costs. It's important. I feel like a lot of people skip that, and especially these guys on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and stuff like that, where they glorify cars like this, and then they don't talk about the outlying costs. Insurance, gas, maintenance, the vehicle itself. Like, if you buy something like this, will that take away from you eating dinner a couple days out of the week? Like, will that hinder you and your family? Like, if you have a kid, if you're married, I mean, there's so many different things to think about. And don't buy the car to think you're gonna get clout. It just doesn't work like that. Or I guess it does work like that, because people don't have to buy the car themselves. But don't do it in terms of thinking that way. Do it for yourself. Do it because you enjoy it. Do it because you want to have fun in the car. But yeah, that's really it. I mean, I can't really think of much. I was going to film this during the day, and then it started raining, so it kind of like ruined my day. I do have, you probably saw my notes on my phone, which gives away the video. But I do have like 3 or 4 videos that I want to film tomorrow, the day after, maybe. Just to get some more content out. I'm trying to stack up as many videos so I can have consecutive weeks lined up. I did have a video come out today, because I'm filming this probably like 2 or 3 weeks before this video actually comes out. But check out those videos. I think that one for that week will be, I'm trying to speak in the future, will probably be, oh, there he is again, will probably be like, I think it was solo driving with me, not talking at all, no talking, it was just me in the back roads. But that was really cool. I liked it. I think the next one after that's going to be 5 things I don't like about the car, and then you'll follow up on this video, which is things you should think about before buying your C6. And then I think the next video is probably going to be 5 things I absolutely love about this car, and I need the daylight for this because I want to show off the vehicle with the tint and I don't know if I'm gonna do a tint reveal in its own video and just walk around the car and show you around inside and out, or if I'm going to just smash that up in next video. But yeah, and then also expect some 4Runner videos to come out. I want to show that car some love as well, because that is my daily driver and I absolutely love that thing. But yeah, just if you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, share, because that really does help me out and it gives me more ideas. If someone comments on a video, for example, like if you shared a video and they had a question, I can answer that. I try my best to answer every single comment. There's not that many, but there's enough to keep me going, which I am grateful for, and I really do appreciate your guys' support. And we're actually growing so much. I was at like 20 subscribers like 2-3 weeks ago, and now we're at 70, which is crazy to me, and I'm glad that you guys like the videos. And I will keep making them as quick as I can and as best as I can. I try to also do these in one take because I want to keep it real. I don't want to constantly keep cutting out parts. Like I said, like you saw me using my notes. I don't mind using my notes. I can't memorize everything, but it's important to me. I want to keep it genuine. I don't like when people cut out certain parts. I know it makes it quicker video, more convenient, stuff like that, but I'd rather just keep it pretty genuine, one take. But yeah, I mean, I think that's all I wanted to say in this video. Like I said, like, subscribe, share, comment. Please do. I like helping. If you're in the position to buy one of these, ask me. I can help. I've been there. I've done that. And I mean, yeah, I'd rather help someone buy the car that they want rather than them spend all the money and not be satisfied because they didn't have someone to help them or guide them. And as these prices come down, there's more people like me buying these cars rather than the newer ones. But yeah, so let me know if you like the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.